Hey guys, it's Alex. I am out here in the garage. It is Saturday night. As you know from my post, I've been having a hard time getting out for rock hounding. We got some snow. Many of the rock bars are still covered up, so rock hounding wasn't as much of an option for me. But there was a video that I really wanted to try to make before the new year, and that's what I'm going to do today. So I've got out some of my favorite finds from my first year of rock hounding and making YouTube videos. There's no particular number, there's no particular order, but these are rocks that either they just struck me as amazing, they hold some sort of sentimental value to me, they are unique. I mean, there's so many ways I could potentially categorize these. So I think without further ado, I'm just going to go through them one by one, talk a little bit about them, and then go on with the rest of my Saturday evening. Okay, so here they are. You can see I've got some bigger specimens, some big, and then some smaller specimens, and some polished specimens as well. And just for reference, for those of you that haven't really seen the rock shop yet, I mean, like, I've got a lot of rocks. You might think I have a problem. But I was realizing kind of as I was going through all of these, here's my agate box, here's my petrified wood box, here's my Jasper box. I was realizing as I was going through all of these just how it's so easy when you're making YouTube videos to focus on the next hunt, the next rock, and these rocks can just sort of sit in your garage unless you're really working on them a lot, and I just haven't had the time to. So it's something really, there's something really fun about coming out here and kind of just sitting down with the rocks, remembering where they came from, remembering why they're special to me, basically, and sharing that with you guys, because I'm sure for those of you that are rock hounds as well, you have rocks that mean the same to you that these rocks mean to me. And that's just sort of how this works, and that's something that makes rock hounding so great, in my opinion. So let's dive in. Okay, I'm going to start up here with these two huge pieces of petrified wood. This one is the one. It's probably the star of the show. I'm just going to go ahead and get a little bit wet there for you guys. But some of you who have been around with my channel for a long time will probably remember me finding this. This is the biggest rock that I have ever taken home. I think it's like 8 pounds. It's a huge piece of petrified wood with this sort of bluish agate material running through it. And there's also some Carnelian Agate over here. This thing has been sitting out here ever since I found it. I've got big plans for it, which hopefully will be in a future video soon. But I just remember finding this. I'll leave a link to some of these videos where I can, just right up here in the corner, if you want to go back and watch me finding it. I just remember finding this thing and having my mind blown. Like, it was so big. So, and then this one, I don't remember exactly where I found it, but it's just one of the other more unique pieces, bigger pieces of petrified wood that I have, and that's because of this yellow Jasper pocket. And it's also got this really cool sort of bluish agate material in there too. And this one is just, it's just a cool piece. So those are my big pieces of petrified wood that I feel like have just really been super special to me. Moving on to the next big pieces, I would say, are my big agates. Let me just move a couple things here real quick. So I'm going to start by dividing these up here. These first two are from my first ever collaboration. This is a Waterline Agate with Katydid. And this was way back. I think I didn't even have 1,000 subscribers yet. I'll put a link to that video again right here. I found both of these, amongst other things. And especially this one, I was like, what is this thing? And I mean, it's clearly an agate. But I just, at that point in my experience on the Yellowstone River, hadn't found stuff like this. And so it really just kind of totally blew my mind. I mean, look at that beautiful glow right there. That's amazing. So those were awesome. This, similarly, is a huge quartz agate, the biggest agate that I found early on at a trip to Pompey's Pillar in the middle of the winter. I mean, it was probably about a year ago, probably like February. At that time, it was the biggest that I'd ever found. You can see it's got some really cool moss in there. And I remember so many of these things I could just remember so clearly. I just remember looking down, seeing it, and like, what? Oh my gosh. And I yelled for my wife, and so exciting. But so another incredible find there. These next two are actually ones that were not even found on camera. And so that's kind of, there's so many rocks that I find on camera, and then there's plenty that I go out, we're going out for a walk, or I go out swimming with my wife and daughter and we find some. And this was a really cool one that you guys have never seen. Pretty big, nice big quartz pocket. There's some banding there on the outside of it. And just a really, really unique, beautiful find. And this one I've shown before, but this was a huge agate that my wife found as she, continues to get more and more interested in rock hounding. This is her biggest agate to date, which is a sizable agate, especially for the Billings area. And so I remember her finding that, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is bigger than most of the agates I've ever found. And then no agate video would be complete without the mother of all agates. This was my most recent collaboration with Theo. I'm not going to spray this whole thing. Well, why not? With Theo and Kate. This is the biggest agate I've ever found. I found it about a month ago. I'll post that video up here again, just right here. It was a really fun afternoon that I got to go out with Kate and Theo, and I found this right at the end of the video, and I just was so excited to find that thing. I mean, it's huge. So such a cool find, and these agates are just super meaningful to me. All right, I moved those out of the way really quick here so we can get to the nitty gritty. So where to start here? All right, I think I'm going to start with this one. This looks like just a regular old piece of Jasper, but it was one of the first pieces I ever found. You can see the fortifications right there. Out on a hike in the Pryor Mountains with my wife and daughter way back in the spring. And I remember wanting to find some pieces with these fortifications, and this was the first one I ever found. So it just goes to show, like, that's a pretty nondescript rock, but to me, I could look at that all day. To me, what makes it so cool is the story, and then just this one little teeny part right there. Next are some really cool pieces. I'm just going to spray all these off, why not? Maybe one of the more unique pieces of petrified wood that I found this year. I don't even know how to describe this, but this was on a kayak trip. It was getting dark when I found this one, and just look at that. I mean, that is incredible. And I've been thinking about tumbling this one just because I know it'll turn out really cool. But, I mean, I kind of look at it and I get like speechless because it's so unique. So that's a favorite of mine for sure. This one is a smaller agate from the same hunt, the very first hunt that I did with Kate. And it was just, again, one of my first agates that I had found that had such a unique marking to it. And I don't ever plan on tumbling this one or polishing this one just because I think this will come off so easily. But just what a memory for me. Okay, now into some of my favorite material. And this is stuff that I was not expecting to find, didn't know very much about, and these are the Treasure State agates that I get out here on the Yellowstone River. This one was in a recent video. I'll put a link to that up there in the corner again. But I've had a lot of you guys asking me about these Treasure State agates, and basically they are just Agates that are not like your typical Yellowstone River agate. They have different colors. They have more sharp identification or fortifications. This is a great example right there. And so the sort of broad term for them, which is not a specific term, like if you Google Treasure State Agate, you won't necessarily find a definition like this. But it's just any agate that's not a Yellowstone River agate. So that's a favorite for sure. This one was one of my favorites from the summer. Just these fortifications up here at the top, also from a kayaking trip. Again, I'll put the link to that up there. But I remember finding this one and it just blew my mind. I love how you can go out there and find rocks like this. It's just incredible. Couple more. This one was never filmed. I found this one while I was out. I think we were swimming with my wife and daughter, and you can tell the fortifications aren't as sharp on this one, but they're there. And it's got a really deep purple color to it, and some sort of druzy quartz down there, but just an absolute favorite of mine. And I'm not sure what I'm going to do with that. This one I just kind of threw in. It's a really small piece, but another Treasure State agate, just a teeny tiny one. And the agate itself has sort of a pinkish color to it. But I just love finding these. And these are quickly becoming my new favorite target out on the river. Here's a cool piece of banded shirt. I'd put banded shirt, when I find it, right up there with Treasure State agates and the incredible big, huge pieces of petrified wood. I mean, it's just so intricate, so unique, almost alien, I would say, that I just love finding that stuff. Okay, Jasper. I don't have a lot of pieces of Jasper out here on the table, but the ones that really stood out to me when I was going through my collection was this piece, just a completely green piece. I almost never find green jasper, and if I do, it's always mixed in with yellow jasper or something else, but to find a entirely green chunk of jasper was so cool, and it's a huge favorite of mine, just because it's such a unique find. And then sort of in the same category, this one, which is just it's almost like a painting of just different colors, and I think this was from the same hunt as this smaller agate here. I remember finding it being just like, it was like staring up at me. I was like, what on earth is that? And this was definitely been a favorite of mine, just to kind of like look at and be like, what is going on in there? All right, some smaller pieces of petrified wood here. Let me spray these off. So much of the petrified wood that I find is, I don't want to be insulting to it, but it sort of is all kind of so similar that when I find a piece like this with like almost like lightning strikes of agate through it, it just really stands out. And I don't remember what video I found this in, but this has been a favorite of mine. It's on my tumbling checklist. I need to get this tumbled, but I love that piece of petrified wood. And similarly is this piece of petrified wood, focus, from a river that I'm not going to tell you about, but it's a river that means a lot to me. I spent a lot of time fishing on it, and I did not know there was petrified wood on it. So when I found this piece of petrified wood earlier this fall, I was just blown away, and I'm so glad to have it. Okay, couple more here. I had to include this one. I got so many comments on this, the maple leaf agate. What a unique piece. I have yet to find anything else like this. I've never seen anything else like this. I am not going to tumble it. I'm just going to leave it the way it is. But what a unique find. And again, I'll put a link up here to that video. This is called a Baculite. It's a fossil, actually. I found this on a hunt with Theo and Kate, the same hunt where I found that massive jumbo agate. Theo is a nut for these things. They're so cool. He polishes them up so beautifully, and I've never found one. And so this was the first one I ever found. So definitely a unique piece for me and a first find. Here is a piece from the same river as this piece of petrified wood, where I picked this up off the ground because I was like, oh, look, it's Jasper. And then, if I can get this to focus. So I think this is called a seam agate. But look at the agate in there. And when I saw what was going on in here, I kind of just like literally stopped and like had to just stare at this thing for minutes on end, and it kind of blew my mind. I don't know what I'm going to do with it, but it was a really unexpected, beautiful find from the fall. And then last of the unpolished finds is this piece, which maybe is, I don't know, it would be a runner for find of the year, but this agate I found while swimming this summer, and I don't think I ever showed it. I just put it up on my Instagram the other day, which you should go follow, by the way. I'll put a link to that down in the description. But, I mean, just check out those bands. It speaks for itself. So I just want, I mean, it was one of my favorite agate finds of the year, without a doubt. Okay, now I have a few polished specimens, and then we're going to be at the end of the video. So, both of these pieces of petrified wood are from my quarantine rock cutting series, so you can go check those out. I just love these. They sit up on my mantle place. I'm going to have to polish this one, clean it again, because I got it all wet, but I just love this piece. And the same goes for this one, and I still don't know whether that's opal or agate in there, but the other thing I like about this one is it's not perfect. You can see that I didn't do a great job polishing it. I was still getting my feet underneath me at that point with polishing, but there's a part of me that just kind of wants to leave it that way because it tells a story, and it's still a beautiful piece even with those scratches. This was my Bear Canyon agate find of the year, without a doubt. You guys just saw the video of me polishing these up on the high-tech diamond flat lap, or sorry, slant cabber. And I've had this up on my mantle place even before I polish it, just because of this orange druzy in here. But then when this agate around the outside of it popped out, I was just like, that is stunning. So I love this piece, and I've got tons of more Bear Canyon agates to go through. Theo, Kate, and I had a whole video where we went and looked for those. I'll put that up here again. And those are just amazing, so I'm excited to work on those. And then this is my other piece of Jasper. It's one of the first pieces I ever cut and polished, and I'm just totally in love with it. I don't know what inspired me to kind of do this like weird half rectangle, but I found this one not on camera, and I didn't make a video of myself working on it, but I just love it. There's kind of what it looks like. Our Yellowstone Jasper is just amazing. Okay, then some small tumbled specimens here. This one, this chert with the pink. I think many of you guys will remember me finding this, and I was so speechless when I found it. And then I think the next video later, I found this one in basically the same exact spot. So what are the chances of that? But those are just some of my favorite little chert pieces. And then this was from my very first video that I ever did on YouTube, which you haven't watched it yet, you should. I found this piece of banded chert, and I tumbled it, and I love the way it turned out. I've shown this before in some of my other tumbling videos, but I just love this one. And then last but not least are my favorite Treasure State agates. These are all tumbled since I found them. This little guy, which is just so mystifying to me. I mean, like, look at that. Sometimes the smallest ones are the most beautiful. I love that one. And then this one, which I did not even find on camera, but look at those bands. I mean, those fortifications. And there's that quartz pocket in there. Such a cool find. And that blue color is really unusual to find on the Yellowstone River. And then lastly is this one. This was maybe the first Treasure State agate I ever found. At the time I found it, it really blew my mind. Link right up here. You can go back and watch my reaction, but wow, I mean, it's just so fun to go back and look at these, really. So there you have it. You know, like I said earlier, it's impossible for me to pick out my top finds in some ways, because all of these rocks are my top finds because I brought them back with me. I mean, they were unique enough to me that I decided to bring them home, and it's hard to pick out favorites, but I did because some of these do mean more to me than others. But I hope you enjoyed this video. I know it's definitely a change of pace. I don't know what the next month or so is going to look like. I'm starting my job in the middle of January. We're going to be visiting some family after Christmas, and of course we have the holidays. So maybe I'll be putting the same numbers of videos out. Maybe I'll be putting no videos out or fewer videos out. But either way, I just want to say thank you to every one of you who watch my videos, who leave comments. It's been a year almost exactly since I started doing this, and I am just so thankful for the experience, so thankful to meet and talk with some of you, and I'm really looking forward to what the future is going to hold for this channel. So thank you. I hope everyone has a safe, healthy, happy holiday season, happy new year, and I'll be looking forward to getting out with you again for more rock hounding in 2021.